Do you ever feel like you need to overhaul your whole life overnight to see any change? Stay with me. This short story will show you how tiny steps, repeated, rearrange everything. Once upon a time, in a narrow apartment above a busy bakery, lived a man named Ant, and worked long hours at a logistics company, came home exhausted, and told himself every night, "Tomorrow I'll start fresh." But tomorrow rarely came. He wanted a healthier body, a clearer mind, and a life that felt purposeful. Yet every plan collapsed under the weight of his own expectations. His friend Lan was different. Lan seemed calm and steady. She wasn't suddenly successful. She just built quiet routines that made her life simpler. One morning over coffee, Anne asked, "How do you do it? How do you keep going?" Lan smiled and said, "I don't do big. I do tiny. Every day." And he laughed it off until a month later, when his doctor warned him his cholesterol and stress were creeping up. Something in him shifted. That evening, Anne walked to the park and sat on a bench. An old man feeding pigeons noticed him and said, "You look like a man carrying a suitcase of tomorrows." Anne sighed and replied, "I only have plans, never results." The old man chuckled. "Plans are maps, habits are the shoes. Which will you choose?" Before Anne could answer, the old man added, "Start with one shoe. Take one step." The next morning, Anne decided to try something different. Lan gave him 3 simple rules. Pick one micro habit, make it 2 minutes or less, and do it immediately after an existing routine. She called it the 2-minute doorway. Anne chose. After brushing his teeth, he would do 1 minute of stretching and write 1 sentence in a notebook. Small, almost laughably small. Day 1 felt awkward. The notebook looked empty. The stretches were clumsy. Day 2 felt the same, but on day 5, he noticed his mood on the commute was slightly lighter. By day 10, 1 sentence became 2. The stretches didn't take much time, but the act of starting created a tiny bridge between intention and action. Anna surprised himself by being consistent. After 2 weeks, Lance suggested a second tiny habit, 1 push-up after making his morning tea. Anne thought, that won't help, but he did it. 1 push-up turned into 3 over time, not because he forced it, but because the habit was already planted. Habit stacking, linking a new habit to an existing one, made small actions automatic. Meanwhile, Anne applied the same idea to his finances. Instead of promising to save more, he set up an automatic transfer of 10,000 dong the day his salary arrived, so small it barely mattered. Over months, the small transfers became a visible balance that surprised him. The compounding effect, both of money and confidence, was quietly working. One rainy night, a deadline at work felt impossible, and used a micro-habit trick, work for 5 minutes only. He set a timer and began. 5 minutes turned into 30. When he finished the task, he felt in control rather than overwhelmed. He realized, momentum is the friend of small beginnings. As the months passed, Anne's life shifted. He wasn't transformed by a single heroic sprint. He was shaped by tiny bricks laid daily. His energy improved, his sleep deepened, and he started reading 1 page of a book each night. That 1 page led to ideas, which led to a weekend online course, which led to a small side project, a calendar he designed to help people build micro habits. One afternoon, he returned to the park and found the old man again. "I followed your shoe advice," Anne said, smiling. "It worked." The old man nodded. "Did it change everything at once?" Anne laughed. "No, but it changed everything over time." The old man tapped his cane and said, "Big things are just many small things stacked. Be patient with how quietly they grow." Anne's relationships improved too. Because his mornings were calmer, he answered messages with warmth. Because he saved a tiny amount each month, he could buy his sister a small gift without stressing. Success, he realized, didn't arrive as a thunderclap. It arrived as a string of tiny, dependable notes. Then came a test. His company restructured and Anne faced uncertainty. Old habits of panic returned, but the tiny rituals he'd built, he'd journal 1 sentence, 2-minute stretch, 1 push-up, 5-minute work became anchors. They didn't fix everything, but they steadied him enough to make clear decisions. He updated his resume a little each week, applied to a few roles, and eventually found work that aligned with his growing interests. Here's the secret Anna learned and that you can use right now. Small habits win because they lower the activation energy. They let you start without needing willpower. They compound because consistency multiplies outcomes over time. 3 practical rules to begin. 1. Pick a micro-habit is less than or equal to 2 minutes. 2. Attach it to a current routine, habit stacking. 3. Make it tiny enough that you can't say no. A challenge. Tonight, choose one tiny habit. Write it down. Attach it to something you already do. After I brush my teeth, I will write one sentence. Do it tomorrow morning. Celebrate the micro win. Even a smile counts. Repeat. Let momentum do the heavy lifting. Remember, you don't need a great leap to change your life. You need a small, steady step repeated until it becomes the path. Small habits lead to big results, not by magic, but by patient accumulation. Start with one tiny thing, build quietly, trust the process. If this story helped, give it a like and leave a comment so others can find it. I'll be back with another story soon. Till then, pick one small habit, do it tomorrow, and watch how your life changes. One tiny step at a time. Stay patient, stay curious, and keep moving forward.